Hey Stampers, I'm Meg from LovenStamps, and you're here for a Monday morning edition of Maker Mornings with Meg. It is cold and snowy, and we have 3 to 6 inches planned for today, so I'll be indoors stamping. But on the plus side, all that like nice reflective snow gives me some extra pretty natural light today, so which is going to be fun because the project that I have to show to you guys is a little bit on the fun and crazy side. The product or the piece of supplies you're going to need are the tissue paper, which I'm going to use white today. You could use colored tissue paper for this technique. And we are going to use the Ombre Designer Series paper that is still available for, gosh, what's today, the 15th? Two more weeks, I think, from the Sale-a-bration mini catalog. And then on the back side, we have the 2 colors, the Bermuda Bay and the Granny Apple Green. So I'm gonna actually use the Granny Apple Green and the, let's see, I'm mixing all my paper up. We're gonna use Granny Apple Green and the purple today. And what is the purple in this? I always forget. Blackberry Bliss. We're gonna call it Rich Razzleberry today instead, so just for fun. And I don't know about you guys, but I love cards with texture, and I love cards with really great saturated color. So we're going to make the faux silk, we're gonna do the faux silk technique today, which is great for texture, and we're gonna add some color to it to really make it pop. I had a stamper who sent me a card over the weekend that she remembered making with me years and years and years ago, maybe like 15 years ago. And it was really pretty, but I thought, it'd be really fun to dress it up. And so usually when you do faux silk, you're gonna crumple up your paper, you're gonna glue it down on like white paper, but we're not gonna use white as our background. We are going to use, oops, glued to my paper. We're gonna use the ombre. So, all right, so you guys ready? Oh, we have a good crowd for a Monday morning. Kathy, Laura, Tanya. I'm glad you guys are here, so. Okay, whoops. Pardon me while I get you guys settled. This is what happens over the weekend. I use my my stand for other things, like recording music videos for my kids. So, well, no, not like MTV size, but like using for district choirs and things like that. So anyway, okay, you ready? So we're gonna start with our pieces here, and I'm going to add to this mess my silicone craft mat. And you know what, I realized in the description for this video, whether you're watching now or on YouTube, are the supplies that you'll need for this. And I'll have to go back and add this craft mat because I do love it. It's just a silicone sheet, and it makes things not stick to your work surface, which is kind of key for this. So, all right, now I used my ombre paper to start, and I want to have a mat that is going to fit on our card front kind of like this. So I cut this to be 4 inches across, by 5 1/4 this way. And we're gonna actually trim it a teeny bit from there, but that's where I'm gonna start. And then what I'm gonna do is grab my multi-purpose liquid glue, and usually I tell everybody I keep it this direction so that it's always ready for every opportunity. But today we're gonna live dangerously. I'm gonna shake it down like a thermometer, an old thermometer, a mercury one. If you don't know what I'm talking about, we used to have to shake thermometers down. So anyway, it was like the bane of my childhood pretending to be sick existence, right? I didn't actually know how to read that mercury thermometer. So it always caused me all kinds of headaches. Anyway, yeah, give me a thumbs up if you vaguely remember mercury thermometers from back in the day. So now I'm coating with the brush or the wipey tip my entire paper. I'm gonna use my take your pick tool to hold our paper down so that I can keep my fingers from getting gluey. And I really want to cover my whole paper. You don't have to keep squeezing the glue the whole time. You can just use that tip to basically wipe the glue across there. Let's see. Morning, Jean. And Sue says she'll watch later. Yeah, I know it's a weird holiday morning. A lot of people are off today, but a lot of people aren't. So, or you wouldn't have been until the snow canceled everything. Okay, so now I've got my glue covered, and I have a piece of tissue paper, which I realized I haven't cut yet. So let me grab that. And you want to cut your tissue paper larger than your project, because the first thing you're going to do is crumple it up. And I've got my glue spread kind of thin, so probably best not to waste a lot of time here. All right, so I'm just gonna crumple my paper. For this faux silk technique, you want to have lots of crumples in there, so I'm gonna open it and crumple it again so that I have lots of good variety, okay, to my crumples. And then this is going to go right down here on my ombre paper. And if you're just tuning in, there's a few steps to this. So I don't want to, I don't want to flatten it out, like spread it too much. It's pretty, let me see if I can show you. It's pretty dimensional. Can you guys see how not stuck down that is? But then I'm going to go ahead and flatten it, just tap it down so that it's on the page. And now you can really see those nice wrinkles there where our faux silk goes. Now, you can stop here. This is really pretty, but I felt like I just wanted that color to show through so much better. Morning, Petra. Hi, Deborah. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna wet this. Now, these are the new water painters. They come 3 to a package. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, like this. And I've heard from demonstrators and customers alike that they're struggling with these. They can't get them to work. It's so frustrating. They miss the aqua painters. I'm gonna go out on a crazy limb here and say that I think these are so much better. So we're all trained. If you have old aqua painters, I'm gonna give you a tip. If you don't have old aqua painters, then you have nothing to relearn. But our aqua painters were super drippy. Water came through them like no one's business. And so we were all trained to just barely tap the little squeeze part, because if you did more than a tiny tap, then water would like spew out everywhere. It was terrible. So we accommodated that by just doing a quick little tap, and then you would brush off the extra water that came out and you would go ahead and use it. So the water painters, I love though, because first of all, there's a brush tip in there, which would be so much better for this project than the old kind. But second of all, these are much easier to control because there's no like one little tiny tap and water spews out. For these, when you push, water comes out. When you stop pushing, no more water comes out. So instead of just doing a tiny tap and then painting forever, like with aqua painters, for these, you want to push and hold. And that whole time that you are holding, water will come out. So if you're struggling with your water painters, remember you have to push and hold, not just tap once like with the aqua painters. So, all right, so you can see that as I'm painting over this and wetting the whole thing, I'm getting a really nice bit of color showing through. Okay, so we have our color showing through there on top. All right. Okay, so this is better, I think, right? We have a lot more color than we had before for our faux silk, but I decided that I think we can do better. So I'm not gonna set this too far away because I'm gonna use it in a moment, but I'm gonna come back with my Rich Razzleberry re-inker, and I picked Rich Razzleberry because it matches my cardstock here and it matches my Stampin Blends that we're gonna use. And I'm gonna just put 3 dots down here at the bottom, okay? And then I'm gonna close this up. All right, Petra says, are they called blender pens now? So blender pens, that's a good question. Blender pens are something else. These are blender pens. They are like a Stampin' Write marker, not the Stampin' Blends, but a little like a Stampin' Write marker. And they're filled with a glycerol water mixture. And so you can use them for different kinds of coloring techniques, but they're totally different. So these are blender pens. These are water painters, okay? Good question. All right. So I've got my ink down here. Maybe I talked too long. Nope, we're good. So remember, I'm gonna press and hold, and I'm just wiping back and forth across here. And my favorite part of this is how that color wicks up into the cracks of the tissue paper. So I'm gonna keep wiping and back and forth all the way across as I go up. And then I'm gonna come back to the bottom each time and re-wet the bottom and move more color up. So as I'm going up from the bottom, I'm moving that color up our paper. So I'm gonna keep starting at the bottom, because remember, if you don't go back to the bottom, you're not gonna pick up that from that color well. Okay, all right. And okay, the only thing I find is that I have to refill my water painters more because I want more water in them. Okay, and remember, you're always gonna go from the bottom up. Okay, and that veining, that faux silk on there, that just really looks like a fancy crinkled silk fabric, is just beautiful. See how that works? I know, I love it. All right. So now when you want to go on from here, you're gonna wanna dry this. So I'm gonna set my glue and so forth aside. And you can just let it dry. I found it took, 15 minutes or so. Or you can peel it off of here and you can use your heat tool to just give it a few buzzes to dry it out. So we're gonna let this sit. I have one here that I did earlier that's already mostly dry. Okay, kind of the same deal. You can kind of see how that works. I love, love, love this technique, but I'm gonna set them both aside for a moment here because I'm gonna bring in our stamp set for today, and that is simply succulents. And one of the reasons that I picked this is the succulents, if you Google succulents to find pictures, you will find that there are so many beautiful different kind of ombre looks to the plants. And so I thought that was a perfect complement for our ombre faux silk paper. So, hey Shirley, good morning, it's good to see you. And I'm glad you're excited about the project. So, okay, so that's how I picked the succulents. And let's see. Rather than use this giant stamp here, which would cover up most of our beautiful paper, I decided that I would use the pot and the two small succulents like this and our greeting. And one of the things I love about this set is the beautiful greetings. You make the ordinary extraordinary, which honestly is pretty awesome for taking a piece of white tissue paper. I mean, honestly, this is where we started, right? And turning it into something beautiful. But I'm gonna use this one. You've been on my mind. It's a great sentiment for these days. Just a chance to reach out. I hope you guys had a nice Valentine's Day. Hey, LaDonna, and enjoyed the chance to kind of reach out, because on Friday we talked about sharing a Valentine with somebody, so. All right, so I am going to take these stamps here and a piece of basic white cardstock, and we'll set this aside. And my Memento ink pad, let's see. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp these, and it doesn't really matter what direction because they're going to be die cut. And I want one of each, and then my little greeting. I'm gonna put that there. And when I stamp these, I try to stamp them far enough apart. I know maybe you're like, oh my gosh, you're wasting so much paper. But the die edges are just a little bit further out. And so what I like to do is make sure that I put them far enough apart that I can go ahead and easily put all my dies on at the same time, because hey, why not, right? So I'm gonna do these. Now, a trick with these succulent dies, oh, that was pretty simple. The other one will be a little trickier, I think. But they do line up exactly. So what you wanna do is put your die down and then just keep turning it until it lines up, which it's not gonna do down there. So this one's a little bit oval shaped, so it probably goes this direction. There we go. And you just kind of keep turning it, at least that's my strategy, until it goes the direction you want. So there's that one. And I don't know, as you've been on my mind, gonna fit on here? Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, so I'm gonna take this one. And if you're wondering about the washi tape, I'm just use washi tape to hold these down in place, because it's honestly the easiest way to get them to stay exactly where I want them when I bring my mini cut and emboss machine in here. So, all right. And just to follow up on my, here, I'll do it this way so you can see the whole thing. On my experiment, if you were wondering about that, it is go. I absolutely love this. Hey, Mercy. I absolutely love this trick. So, Stampin' Cut and Emboss is super lightweight, which is super fabulous until you're trying to use it and it's like moving all around. I have really smooth countertops, so it moves all over the place. So here's my solution. On the bottom, there are these little knobby things, which are really great to start with, but what I do is I take the extra piece of sticky from the edge of my, I need to replace one, so I'll just do it now. From the edge of my paper, okay? And so don't throw away the extra cling material from the your stamp sets when you mount them. That stuff is like gold. All right, now the trickiest part of getting this off of here is peeling the paper backing. Here's my trick. All I'm gonna do is just damage the paper on one corner. You see how I just sort of tear it? That plastic is not gonna tear, it's amazing, but the paper is, and then it will be easy to get off, okay? And then I'm going to pop this, and I can't remember which side goes on the Stampin' Cut and Emboss, but honestly, oh, it wasn't that one. If it pops off right away, then that was the wrong side to put on the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. The first time you do this, it'll probably pop off right away. Let's see. There we go. Because there's just dust gathered on there. But I have that on all four corners, and so what it does is make it really easy for me to plant my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine somewhere and open it up and have it ready to go. Now, I also thought I would share this tip with you because I've gotten actually a couple notes from people over the last couple days about their plates, and they're like, oh my gosh, my plates are getting ruined. This is not ruined. This is barely used, okay? So when you put your dies through here, you guys who have been using your die cut machines for a while know this, but it's gonna mark the plates. What I find I want to always do is make sure that I move my dies around, so I'm not always cutting in the middle. I wanna cut at the ends, I wanna cut left and right, and I wanna cut on both sides of the plate. So you can see this plate is starting to bow a little bit. That's because I've cut on this side like 4 times, and on this side a whole bunch. So easy fix, I'm just gonna take my plate and I'm going to cut on the side that hasn't been cut on yet. So always move your dies around. You can see how easy this is because my washi tape is already on there, holding my dies where I need them. And then I'm going to go ahead and crank this through. Now, there we go. Okay. Another thing that people have been saying is that they have trouble getting their mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss started, and you want to stagger your plates at the end. See how they're not actually lined up in a perfect thing? That's gonna help you start it easier. And did you see how it didn't go anywhere when I did that? Love. So then you just have to kind of tease it off. Sometimes, this is probably the one that I just put on upside down. The little feet come off, but no problem, you just move it. And it's the clay material, so it's kind of designed to come on and off. And I highly recommend treating your Stampin' Cut and your mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine with that to keep those pieces to keep those feet to stay where you want them to when you're using it. So, all right, so I have all these pieces. You know what, I have ones that are already untaped, so I'll just pull these here. You would just untape those and pull them off. Oh, I don't have my greeting, so I guess I'll pull this one off. Okay, and washi tape unsticks really easily. And so, next thing we're gonna have to do here is some embossing. Let's see. Lana says, I never thought about, oh yes, always cut on both sides of your plates and all the way across. Like if you look at my ones that I've had forever, and this is nowhere near needing replacing. I'll use these for a long time, probably a year or more. Still, and I have cut all the way out to the edge on all sides. That will really keep you from having problems with them bowing. If you concentrate in the middle all the time, then this part of the surface is going to get cut up, which weakens that little surface area of the plastic, and so it can't hold itself straight. It's like, you're cutting out all my supports. So use the whole plate. All right. Now, bringing back in with our Stampin' Blends, I have our colors to match. So I have Rich Razzleberry, and I thought about Old Olive, and then I decided, you know what? Honestly, the colors in these succulents are really punchy. So I'm going with Granny Apple Green, and I'm going to color this guy here. I'll probably just color the small one. I have a big one that's already colored, but you'll get the technique here, I think, just from this one. And let's see. Can I bring you a little closer? There we go. All right, so I have my Granny Apple Green, and my first thing is always to do just one coat over the whole deal. Now, number 2 is going to be to take my darker Granny Apple Green, and I'm gonna cover the bottom like 2/3-ish of each leaf. And you wanna do each leaf individually because they kind of overlap and stuff. So I'm gonna do the bottom 2/3 of each leaf. Maybe I'll leave a little more there. And so we have sort of a dark and a light, okay? And there we go. So I do the same thing on this one. You get the idea. Then I'm gonna take my purple, and honestly, there's really no wrong answer to coloring these succulents because if you Google succulents, there is every color scheme imaginable. So now I'm gonna take my lighter of my rich raspberry, and I'm gonna color sort of, I don't know, the bottom 2/3 of what I just colored green, okay? So that we have that nice purpley color getting started. And then I'm gonna take my dark raspberry and I'm gonna color right at the base of each leaf, right where it overlaps the one below it, okay? So we get that super fabulous saturated color in there. Now, I like this, but if you've ever watched me use Stampin' Blends before, I always say there's 1, 2, 3. 1 is the light color, 2 is the dark color, and then 3 is to take the light and color right at the intersection between the light and the dark. And you can see the difference between this leaf here and this leaf here, how much, I should use my pokey tool here to hold it so I'm not fingers in the way. But you can see how much softer that transition gets when you color just a little bit at that intersection. So, whoops, you get some variety, okay? All right, so I have one that is colored here of the bigger flowers, so I've got that done. And then we're gonna color our pot here also. And for that, I'm gonna use my light raspberry. And for this, so big spaces, you wanna make sure that your markers go sort of in line with the shape of the item. So this is round, so my strokes, get my holding tool back in. My strokes are always going to kind of be wide as much as I can because you can see those short strokes and how they're causing some extra shape in there that I don't really want. So, okay, so there's my light. So first step, light. Second step, dark. And I'm just gonna go over this whole middle part here. And I'm gonna go at the rim of the pot, kind of where that shadow would be. And then I'm gonna go a little bit at the bottom and then sort of this corner here. So we're gonna say that our light source is kind of coming from right here, which means that the bottom and side would be shaded and then this side just a little bit, okay? All right, now that looks pretty ragged, right? So we have 1, we have 2, and then 3 is to go back and color at the intersection to blend at the intersection. And you see how that's really softening that whole look, okay? So we don't have such sharp gradation in our color. And we have some nice shape of our pot forming there. And I'm gonna leave some light spot kind of there in the center, all right? So there we have our pieces. All right, I'm gonna back you up here so that you can see a little bit more at one time again. And then we're going to bring back in our paper. So this one is dry now. So there's our faux silk. I actually have one that I've trimmed though, which I'm gonna grab. So here's one that I've trimmed and it is now, let's see, 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. So it's just a teeny tiny bit smaller than our basic black layer. And then this is going to get a layer of the Seal Plus on the back because I want to make sure that any of those ripples in our faux silk are stuck down hard so that they don't go anywhere. So this is way more adhesive than I usually put on a piece this big. And I'm gonna go all the way around the edge. There we go. Okay, so now, oops, stuck to my fingers. I'm gonna pop this here on our layer. And just that teeny little touch of black around is gonna make that pop out, okay? And then check this out. I'm gonna bring my raspberry cardstock in. I love the way that makes our colors pop again. And I'm going to go ahead and mount this. And just to give it some extra stability, I'm gonna use my Seal Plus again. And if you're not familiar with Seal Plus and Seal yet, Seal Plus is the super strong version. Seal is the kind of super quick version. It's a little bit less beefy, but a little bit less expensive. So they're fabulous. All right, and then I'm gonna mount this on our card. And our card's actually gonna go this direction. I know we kind of started it out this way, but we're gonna go this way. I have a little bit of tissue I'm just gonna tuck under there. Okay, so now we're going to add our pieces, and I really like this dark corner here because it is going to make these colors pop. So again, we have our color match with our pot, then we have our color match with our succulents from our markers. I'm gonna pop these over, and then our greeting is going to go here just like that. So the pieces that I'm adding to this are really pretty simple. They really make the most of that faux background, right? That faux silk is kind of our showpiece of this card. So I'm not gonna have too much fancy dancy crazy stuff that's gonna kind of clutter up our card. We're gonna go with a real simple treatment here. I feel like I'm working in interior design. Not my thing, but I admire people who can make a room look amazing. So, all right. Here we have our succulents on there. We're just gonna overlap them, and then we're gonna add our greeting kind of across here like this. And you know what? I'm gonna pop an edge piece on here. I'm gonna use the wider edge piece so that we get a nice, well, I think I am. There we go. I was sticking to its backing. Remember to use the edges of your Stampin' Dimensionals. I think I used those for something recently. Oh, on Friday night, we had a demonstrator, Stampin' Share demonstrator event online. So I was using those for something, but we have a good time together as a demonstrator team, which, by the way, now is a great time to sign up during Celebration with a special if you're interested in some of those perks. So definitely ask me more. Okay, wait, I forgot something, because as I was getting this project ready, I thought, oh my gosh, there is this other fabulous die. Where is it? Here it is. That is part of the succulent. So it's in that set. And wouldn't this be fun to kind of just hang down like this? And I was gonna grab some Granny Apple Green cardstock, and then I thought, well, that's not like perfect. This is perfect. So on the other side of this ombre paper, I have ombre Granny Apple Green, which matches our colors here. So I'm gonna pop this on here. So I need to take this one back off. So let me show you my trick. If you need to take something off, remember you don't wanna peel up. I don't wanna peel, let me show you this way. I don't wanna peel like this, because if I do peel like this, it's gonna bend all those cardstock fibers and it's gonna kind of damage that piece. So instead, what I'm gonna do is turn. So I'm gonna twist on this dimensional, and that came up with no problem and barely even damaged our faux silk underneath. So, all right, and then I don't really want this to be gigantic, so I'm gonna hide most of it under our succulent and pop that back on there. Cool, all right. So that gives us kind of a fun, extra little accent. And I think it still needs an embellishment, right? Honestly, this card is pretty well embellished with the faux silk already, but I wanted to come back and I wanted to play on the lighter side of this ombre. And so I'm gonna actually use these Magenta Madness dots. So these are the in color dots. And I'm gonna use the Magenta Madness one because it is going to just pop our color just a little bit. So we're gonna pop some of these on here as just a kind of 3-dot background. 1, 2, there we go. And then maybe I'll put one over here. And I'm gonna use your take your pick tool because it's so much easier to kind of like look and see where I want them to go. There we go. All right. So there we go with our finished faux silk card. So I hope that you guys are going to have a little bit of extra stamping time available this Monday, and you can go ahead and try faux silk. It's probably going to be pretty easy to do with supplies that you already have on hand. If you need supplies, of course, the video has a link in the description that you can go ahead and click on to be able to grab the supply list. Oh my gosh. Okay, I missed a ton of comments. Sorry, guys. I'm glad you guys are here. Barbara and Sally and anyway, link is in the video description for products, but otherwise really what you need to have is some glue. of which, of course, I love my multi-purpose liquid glue, which you probably have on hand, some tissue paper, and then some cardstock and some re-inker. So if you're looking for a reason to add to your re-inker collection, this is a great one. And of course, during celebration is always a good time to stock up on supplies because you get a free stamp set for every $50 you order. So, and if you have all the stamp sets, then I think that you are already amazing. But you, of course, I mean, I use the Ombre DSP paper, right? So you can always use more designer series paper. So, all right. Kathy says her florist will love this. Yes. Yeah. And actually, whether you're a demonstrator or not, I don't know if you guys knew, but you can sell cards that you've made with Stampin' Up! Design. So kind of a fun chance. I'll just mention the angel policy that Stampin' Up! Has. So they will, they own all the copyright to their stamped artwork and their designer series paper and stuff, but they're happy to let you use it for making things to sell. So if you need more information about the angel policy, let me know. But the gist of it is that basically you need a little Stampin' Up! Copyright Stampin' Up! Image to put on the back of your cards or on your tags someplace to just acknowledge that copyright. And then, yeah, you're totally legit to sell stuff. So if your florist has a little card stand, maybe you could ask if she would like to have some gorgeous cards to go with it. So honestly, this faux silk technique is really, really rich looking. It's one of those things that make people go, wait, you made that card? That's amazing. How did you do that? So, all right. Beth and Kathy say great technique. Thank you. Sharon said, the mini styes put on the piercing mat also. Okay. Mini styes put on the piercing. Oh, the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Yes. So you could take that and you could set it like on the piercing mat, kind of this deal, which I use for my photopolymer. I bet you could probably put it on the silicone mat too, and that would kind of hold it in place too. But I'm always using those for things. So that's a really good bonus tip also. It does help, I think, to kind of anchor it somewhere. So, all right. That's one of the things I love about these videos. You guys have great suggestions and are always happy to hear them also. So, all right. I hope that you have a fabulous day filled with stamping, that you had a great weekend, and that you will give faux silk a try. It's a lot of fun. So I think this is what I might do today. All right. Happy stamping, guys. Have a great one. Thanks for watching.